Stop for a second, not scrolling, not multitasking. Just stop, because something is happening right now that has nothing to do with algorithms, recommendations, or chance. You did not arrive here by accident. Out of billions of people breathing on this planet, you are here, reading these words, in this exact moment. And that is not random. Something has been aligning behind the scenes for longer than you realize. There are moments in life that look ordinary on the surface but quietly split your story into before and after. This is one of those moments. You felt it before you even knew what it was. That strange pause in your chest, that subtle shift in your attention, that quiet sense that something was pulling you to stop and listen, that wasn't curiosity, that wasn't boredom. That was timing. The kind of timing you can't manufacture. The kind that shows up only when something bigger than you is at work. Here's what you don't see. Long before today, long before this week, long before this year, a chain of events was already moving. Doors closed that frustrated you. Delays that made no sense. Detours that felt like setbacks. You thought they were obstacles. They were positioning. You thought you were being pushed back. You were being lined up. There is a reason you've felt more pressure than usual. A reason the last few years felt heavier than they should have. A reason the fight has been more intense, the waiting longer, the confusion thicker. That kind of resistance never shows up for nothing. It only shows up when something valuable is on the other side of it. You've been in a season where it felt like everything required extra effort. Rest didn't refresh you. Sleep didn't fully restore you. Even good days felt like they carried an invisible weight. And you kept asking yourself the same quiet question. Why does everything feel harder than it should? Because you were not just living life. You were walking through a contested season. Because you were not just living life. You were walking through a contested season. You were not overlooked. You were not forgotten. You were not drifting. You were being held in a narrow corridor of timing, where things had to unfold in a very specific order. And now, you're here. Not because you searched for this, but because something found you. And this is only the beginning. Because what happens next will explain why the last few years felt the way they did. And why the next season will not look anything like the last one. In the next part, I'll show you what was really happening behind the scenes, while you thought nothing was moving, and why the pressure increased right before this moment. For a long time, it felt like you were walking in place. Moving, but not arriving. Trying, but not breaking through. Doing your best, but somehow always ending up back in the same emotional, financial, or mental territory. You told yourself, maybe this is just life. But deep down, something in you knew that explanation didn't fit. It wasn't just slow progress, it was resistance. Think back. There is a specific period in your life when things started getting heavier. A season when obstacles multiplied instead of decreased. When answers became slower, clarity became foggier, and momentum became harder to sustain. You didn't suddenly become weaker. You were being pressed. What you experienced wasn't random struggle. It was targeted pressure. There are seasons when life feels normal, and then there are seasons